guys, and welcome back to the Hoops Lounge, where we talk about all sorts of basketball topics every week, and it's kind of a collaboration between great basketball minds. So as always, the trifecta of Hoops Loungeness, we're going to start first with myself, Phil Boileau, Sporting Phil, first co-host, Mr. Mota.
Hey, what's up, guys? Patrick Beverly is out. Westbrook now can exhale and relax because he's out.
I'm sure he's doing kind of a little like a Carmetic, like, told you so kind of dance. And the third member of our team, Mr. Marc.
Hey, I'm Mark, and so the Spurs are the Rodney Dangerfield of the NBA. 17 straight, but still no respect.
Just getting no respect. Anyway, so this
told you guys from the beginning of the show, but yeah, we'll talk later.
Exactly. Okay, so this week our main topic for our first quarter is a 12-minute roundtable discussion on one of the big issues hitting the NBA this week. Right after we finished watching that epic Pacers-Heat game, we had to think, where did all the physicality go in the NBA? I mean, when we saw Lance Stevenson getting called for tech, seeing other players getting called for fouls that 10 years ago wouldn't really be fouls, and we're hearing a lot of NBA greats speak of this. Now, maybe Marc, I'll go to you first, because you've always been a big fan of the history of the game. Do the players have a point? Is the game less physical now than it used to be? Because in my mind, it is.
There's not even a comparison. I was watching an interview with Bob Pettit, who was a star in the 50s, and he was talking. They used to have enforcers back in the day. And, I mean, we could talk what Martin Gortat said about fighting and comparing it to ice hockey. The games are just, I mean, you look to the 80s and 90s hard Bad Boys basketball and Knicks basketball, that, you put someone on their butt, when they went into the lane. That doesn't exist anymore in NBA basketball. It's two different leagues completely than what it used to be. And so you hear even guys like Kobe Bryant coming out about it. The league is an open flow. It's a different energy. It's a pass for the league. It's just the philosophy behind basketball now is it's more about entertainment, spreading the ball around the court, and there's not that tenacity that used to be there. What made the game quite different than what it is today.
Yeah, and whatever happened to the centers? Whatever happened to centers that are just...
Dirk Nowitzki happened to the centers. Yeah. Guys like that came in. They all want to step behind the three-point line.
But whatever happened to the back to the basket center, or whatever happened to that shot blocking Ben Wallace type centers and those 7-foot-plus monsters that dominated the league?
Andre Jordan,
Alonzo, Shaq, Alonzo, Yao Ming,
the good ones.
Robinson. The centers of today, they're just like, no, they like the soft touch, and they complain too much, like Pau Gasol. We actually spoke about the dirty fouls and the actual fouls and the good fouls and not good fouls, and it's sometimes it's part of the game. Like, I play basketball, and sometimes you have to understand that being aggressive is part of the game, and then now it's just they just look at Pau Gasol. You all, even though the camera is all the way far away from him, you can still hear him complain every time he goes to the basket.
Well, if you're playing for these Lakers too this year, I think you'd be complaining a bit.
Yeah, let's not talk about the Lakers, because they beat my Knicks by a lot of points, so I'm not gonna even. Don't mention Lakers. Don't mention Knicks. Don't mention.
We're not going there. We're talking with the physicality of the game.
Yeah, let's stay on point. So what do you think? Well, what happened? What happened? You think it's Dirk Nowitzki?
I think it's a combination, because the video that Marc was alluding to was one on ESPN.com, where they were saying with the introduction of the European game and European players coming over, we saw this larger skill set from these big players. Like, instead of just being a back to the basket guy, you were stepping out. And so now I think for young players, there's this kind of push to be able to do more than your traditional sense. Like, if you're 7 feet tall, it's not good enough anymore to just be a defensive stopper. You also have to have a three-point shot. Because these terms, stretch fours, stretch fives, these guys who can somehow face the basket. I mean, Marc Gasol, I think, is the best kind of in between of him still having that toughness and learning, to play with a bit of a modern twist. But to Marc's point, there aren't as many of these kind of throwback players who are just there for the physicality, get rebounds, block shots, and not as much.
Charles Oakley's.
Yeah, the Charles Oakley's. Now, it's tough, right? Because to also have an impact in the league, you have to be good. I mean, you can't just be this tough guy who plays 5 minutes a game because you're terrible. And so you have to look at the real stars. I mean, guys like Blake Griffin, really big guy, but people are saying how he's a little bit soft. But, see, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me because every time some players complain, I look at there are players on other teams. Like if you look at Detroit with Andre Drummond, if you look at Memphis with both Zebo and Marc Gasol, I think there are players who I think
betting on that you're going to bring Andre Drummond in that discussion. But go ahead.
Andre Drummond, if anyone's been living under a rock or not following Hoops Lounge, is a bit of an obsession of mine. I think he's going to be a star. But anyways, I've been calling him for a while. So what I'm saying is that I think it's not the fact that the players aren't willing to do it. I think they just know that the league and the restrictions and the rules are going to get on their case and make and put them in foul trouble or technical fouls, and so they don't want that. Now, Marc, we'll go back to you. Like obviously, people are almost wishing there was more of it. I mean, look, NFL football, incredibly physical. People love it. Even baseball, like where they shouldn't have physicality. There's crashes at the plate, all this stuff, and that's not a technical foul. And then obviously ice hockey, you would never think of taking away. So the 4 major North American sports, I mean, you can count soccer in there, but I'm not even going to begin. But then, should we be thinking of bringing it back, or is this just too much of a marketing machine and they just want to see fast-paced games, less layups, less free throws, less technical fouls? I mean, where is the, authentic point to basketball?
Well, I'll tell you this. Last summer, I was in Toronto covering Canada basketball senior men's national team because they were competing in FIBA games to get into the FIBA World Cup tournament this summer. And it was and they didn't qualify. But this is very interesting because I was talking to Drew Ebanks about this quite a bit because the guys like Tristan Thompson and Andrew Nicholson coming from the NBA had to learn how to play the FIBA-style game, which is very different, very much a throwback to 80s and 90s NBA basketball. Much more, in your face, pushing, less. The rest put their whistles away in a good way. And let the guys play and decide on their own. And so it's very much a man's game, what FIBA basketball is right now. So that's something to look to, and it's a very competitive, very entertaining league as well. So that's what I would look to if I'm the NBA and say, I want to go to something along the lines of what FIBA is doing. And these guys like Tristan and Andrew, had to learn that game on the fly. It's not a game they're used to. So there would be an adjustment period, but it's worth looking at. And I think it's very, very exciting basketball.
And to add to that, I mean, from my own experience coming here to Switzerland, and actually I'm playing with the team, and I had to adjust on how I'm playing, defense on big men. Because in North America, you're not allowed to use your elbow to protect, to push the guy. But here, you're allowed to. So there's way more.
For so many fouls. No.
Yeah, here there's way more physicality. Like especially in the post, you see you have to fight to get your position for you to get that rebound. And right now in the NBA, rebounds are, they come into your hand. I mean, if you see a point guard like Rondo and Darren Williams getting 5, 6, 7 rebounds a game, it means that there's a problem.
Yeah.
Because what happened to the big guys that will just box everybody out, like Horace Grant from the Chicago Bulls in the 90s or the 80s, So it's I think there's a lot of it from the league. There's a lot of it from the players.
I don't know. I think there are guys like that. I hate to be a broken record, but Dwight Howard, Drummond, guys like that. I think physically these guys are capable, but is it not more to what Marc said with the NBA rules being more restrictive than the FIBA rules that aren't letting these same physical players really just act out?
Yeah.
Well,
No.
I mean, on the other side of the fence, you can look to around the time where they eliminated hand checking. You know, guys like Steve Nash really came to their own and to open up the basically the open court style basketball and to fly around in the open court. So that really changed the game a lot. And I really want to look back to the Jordan rules. I think Mota has read that book. I mean, that was a time period where basically Michael Jordan was just sent to the foul line.
Yeah.
You hit him hard, and he went to the foul line. That doesn't exist anymore, and that was a mental state of basketball where you were intimidated to come into the lane, and so that's just not there anymore. And so when I see this Pacers game and Lance Stevenson getting thrown out because he's not allowed to talk, because you're not allowed to throw an elbow, I grit my teeth because I miss that brand of basketball. I miss that style.
Yeah, and there's actually a nice line of Chuck Daly explaining what the Jordan rules are. Just basically, if Michael Jordan goes to the bathroom, the entire team is going with him. So that's the type of defense that they were playing on him, and it was exciting to watch. It was not like the beatdowns, but it was how Michael Jordan elevated his game to work around that defense. Right now, you can already expect what's going to happen. When you look at the defensive stances and how each player are doing, they're probably doing almost the same thing every time. So it was always exciting because you can never know what's going to happen next, and it's lacking right now.
Yeah, no, well, it definitely changed, but I think it's changed from a big man league to a point guard league, especially to Mark's point. Point guards can get away with more, drive in, but I think something people aren't saying as much is when you take away the physicality and you put the whistles back in their hands instead of their pockets, you're promoting things like flopping, no?
Yeah.
Like this whole world of all these, James Hardens and Manu Ginobilis who just are like, well, if I'm not allowed using my hands, all I can do is stand like this and take it. So it just promotes that, and to me, that's the ugliest thing ever. I would rather a little more physicality. As you said in the starting, a guy like Patrick Beverly, he's almost made for an 80s style basketball. Yeah. His game's not appreciated in today's day and age the way maybe it should be. And I truly believe that, people are calling more and more fouls, but it's getting more people to the line. And to me, nothing slows down the game as much as free throws. I hate free throws. It's always been a thing of mine, and you just need to let the game flow. I think a big win would be, as you guys said, have a little bit more of an emphasis on the FIBA game, and just tell refs to relax with these fouls a bit. If the games go down 5 points each a game, but it's more enjoyable. I mean, how many uncontested layups are there these days? How many because people are afraid to play defense. Defense isn't even defense anymore, and there's a lot of fans who, people when they get into the game, they like high scores, they like this, but like any other sport, you start appreciating the other facets, and teams that play a lot of defense, there's not many to follow these days.
So yeah, it's actually to bring you to that point. There's actually two things that I would like to say. The NBA actually even moved. Speaking of point guard league, actually the NBA, if you look at the evolution, there's more 3-point shooting right now than any time before. All the players are trying to shoot threes. I mean, even Andrew Bynum tried 4 times when he was with the Lakers once. So, but some guys like Kobe and Jordan capitalized on the mid-range game and capitalized on driving to the lane and going to the basket. But right now, you don't see much of that. You're actually seeing more of the spaced-out game and people
4-point plays. I feel like every game I watch is a 4-point play.
Exactly. But now my other point is, if you haven't watched, go on 3on3 Planet and watch the semifinal game in Turkey last year. Basically, I actually spoke to one of the 3on3 organizers, Julien Debove, and he actually told us that the FIBA told the refs when in any 3on3 tournament to go easy on the fouls. It's let the physicality, because they know that the crowd likes it.
Of course.
So let them play how they play, and if you stop the game, because it's a fast-paced game, they want to keep that fast pace. Right now, everything is slowed down. It's almost as slow as football.
Yeah,
You know, it's
that
like
makes sense.
watching Peyton Manning over there.
Uh-oh. Well, that's the end of our first quarter, guys. That's 12 minutes been blown by. Sorry for cutting you off there, but we got to move on to the next section. Next section, well, we get the battle in this one, so this will be all right. This is in the post. Mark, you want to read the people the rules and regulations?
Yeah, this is where I turn into an NBA referee. Basically, between Phil and Mota in the post, these are questions from fans, from Phil and Mota each other, from me. They haven't seen the questions beforehand. 3 questions each, and they get to respond to each other's questions. And let me just put that up right now. And so we do this every week. If you want to send questions in, get at us on Twitter or info@hoopslounge.com. And send us your questions for in the post. So I will go to Phil first. Question number 1, Phil. Are Andrew Wiggins and Jabari Parker polished enough, or should they stick in school another year or 2?
Oh, I completely. I used to be a big proponent of staying in school. I don't believe either should stay in school. I believe they're both system guys. Parker's a scorer, and Wiggins is a guy who needs a point guard. I just think they should both come out right now, and it's the job of the GM and the team to put them in a system that works.
Mota?
I absolutely agree with Phil here. Charles Barkley actually mentioned it last week that Parker and Andrew Wiggins, they're not ready to play in the NBA. Losing against smaller teams and not actually winning, and even if they score 24 points each, you're not ready if you lose against a team that is almost not as good as yours, and that means that you're not ready for the NBA.
Yeah, I'm being a really bad ref. I forgot to mention the 24-second shot clock. I got it now. Jeez,
And we didn't agree, Mota, because I actually said they should come to the NBA and learn the NBA, and it's a waste of time to take that second year in college. That was actually my point.
Okay. But
okay.
Let's move on. I completely disagree. They should stick in school. They should get educated. They should. Look at all these.
Look at Marcus Smart. Enough. I win.
Shane Battier. That's it.
Grant Hill. Okay, Mota. Question 1. Mota, question 1. Given that Michael Carter-Williams, Philly has Michael Carter-Williams and Noel, and 1 pick this year, at least 1 great pick. They got 5 picks altogether. Are the Sixers looking at playoff glory in the future, or are they going to turn into the Cleveland Cavs?
They're definitely looking at the at playoff glory. I mean, they're definitely in rebuild mode. It's going to probably take them a year or 2. I think the Sixers are in the same situation as OKC in the past and in 2007 when Kevin Durant and Westbrook got together.
Phil, your response?
All right. Well, I think that I don't know. I can't really.
TikTok, man, TikTok.
TikTok. I'm blanking. Wow, why am I forgetting? I was actually typing right there. I just blanked on the question. Why am I being like this? Boo. I fail. I just put this one in the ball.
Sometimes the ball does not go in the hoop, baby. Okay, Phil, your second question. The Spurs are rolling right now. In previous years, they have had streaks going into the playoffs. Is this their year?
This better be, because I don't think it's getting any better from here. I don't think they have a future. I think there's enough holes in all the other armors that I think they're playing their guys enough small minutes. I think they win it, and Skip Bayless finally gets the smile.
Mota, your response?
I think yes, it's definitely their year. But every year, people are saying, okay, this is the Spurs last year. This is the Spurs last year. I disagree. I think the Spurs system is made for new guys to come in and just fit in it because they act on role players. They have their big 3, and the big 3 don't play that much.
Okay, Mota, this is round 2. Your first question. What matters more in NBA basketball, winning streaks or losing streaks?
Definitely winning streaks. I mean, from my experience, when we were in a winning streak, you're not anymore playing based on like you're trying to get that streak going, but you're having fun playing with your teammates because it's just fun to keep on winning, and losing streak will just keep you on putting you down all the time. So it's great chemistry.
Phil?
I'm gonna agree because obviously winning is a barometer of how you play the game. But I think there is some value to a losing streak, just because I find a losing streak will cause more change, more need to revisit what you do, and winning streaks can sometimes get you a little bit cocky and off-focused on the main point of your team. So I'll just say that as a side caveat.
All right, round 3. We're going to go to Phil first. Can the Houston Rockets contend without Patrick Beverly?
I mean, without Beverly and without Dwight Howard, who doesn't want to play ever.
Sure.
Sure. I think Jeremy Lin still has enough talent. I mean, I honestly think the biggest thing is if Howard shows up. I think Beverly was nice, but he wasn't that big of a part that some other guys couldn't step in and still make it happen. He's not one of their stars. So.
Mota?
I completely agree with Phil. I think they still have Jeremy Lin, they still have James Harden, but the big point here is, will Dwight Howard show up in the playoffs? Will he play as a real big man and play like when he played in 2008 for the Orlando Magic? That would be the biggest question. Physicality, getting rebounds.
Outplayed by Steven Adams, basically.
Exactly.
Okay, so here is the final question of In the Post. We'll go to Mota first, and of course this is a what-if question that came from Phil because he loves what-if questions. What if the Lakers trade the #1 pick and a bunch of pieces to Minnesota for Kevin Love? Who says no?
Whew.
Kevin Love has 1 year left in his contract.
I think Kevin Love would love to go to Kevin Love would love to go to LA, but I don't think the Lakers is his fit. I think he wants to go to the Clippers, just like you said. He wants to play with Blake Griffin.
Phil?
I do not even think that close that Blake and Love could play together, by the way. I think this is a great trade for both. I think Minnesota's going to be in the spot. Like, the Knicks are going to be with Carmelo Anthony, losing their star for nothing. A first overall pick in this strong of a draft makes a lot of sense, especially if you can pry away maybe another expiring contract or a re-sign. And for the Lakers, Kevin Love and Kobe Bryant, plus a little bit of cap space. There's a run.
That is in the post.
I'll give you that question because I give you that question because you blanked out in one of the questions. So I'll take it easy on you this time.
Perfect. All right. Well, now that In the Post is done, we have a little throwback time where Mr. Marc Griffin gets to throw us some Naismith knowledge. Marc, what do you have on tap for us this week? I've actually been looking forward to this one.
Yeah, so the Naismith moment, I look at hardwood history, culture, and the Canadian game. And this week, I am looking back to 2001 because the Raptors clinched the playoff berth this year. And, to be honest, to be brutally honest, they're relevant again in the NBA in a way they have not been since 2001. So I moved this week, and I'm going through all these, boxes and things. And I found that because I lived in Toronto in 2001, so a lot of people remember this shot.
Wow, you kept that one? Wow.
Yeah. This is the shot that Vince Carter missed in Game 7, the Eastern Conference semifinals against the Sixers, off the back of the rim, and it changed everything for that franchise. That day itself, I think, would make a great 30 for 30 by ESPN. Talking about diplomas, that day Vince Carter decided to take a plane to North Carolina and get his diploma that morning. And there was a lot of dissent. There's actually a documentary by Sportsnet that came out this year called The Reimagination of BC. It talks a bit about that. So, the franchise went in a different direction. As in life, sometimes you go one way or another. And, it's been a downhill slide for that franchise since then. And a lot of things have happened. There's been bad blood, and they talk about, should we be forgiving Vince Carter? Him leaving for New Jersey. You could say that he was tanking that season, personally get out of the team. There's a lot of different issues. So looking at the Raptors now, being reflective, seeing how the game has grown in Canada, guys like Tristan Thompson saying that you were my Michael Jordan. I played basketball because of you, what he did for Toronto, what he did for Canada. So, you know, the Olympics, not the Olympics, the 2016 All-Star game coming up in a year and a half, you know, possibly, you know, mending those fences with Vince Carter, inviting him and maybe T-Mac and these guys back, and you know, maybe, you know, forgiving Vince Carter could be a thing coming up. But seeing how the team is relevant again, like I said, going to the playoffs this year, it's a very special time for Toronto and for Canada. So these two moments are very much tied together, and so I really want to think about what he did for this country. And I know he missed the shot, but all he did leading up to this moment, that slam dunk contest really started it. But for a couple of years, we were very much on the basketball map. We're there again, and we're not there today without Vince Carter. So that's something to think about for the Naismith moment.
I mean, because of him, I have his jersey, and you walk around in Switzerland, all around Europe, you'll still see people wearing the Vince Carter jersey here. And
he was Kevin Durant's favorite player growing up.
Yes. So
well, he walked around with that swag, right? And he was Superman before the Superman, half man,
half amazing.
I think he was everyone's favorite player, even if we don't want to admit it. Yeah. And here's hoping that DeMar DeRozan gets all his off-the-court things settled so he doesn't have anything come game time.
Yeah.
All right, well, we come to an end of another show here. As we do at the end, we always look at what's coming up on tap. Mota, maybe we want to throw it back to you. What do you have coming up this week, or what should people be looking out for in the world of basketball?
Just look out for more of the. It's coming to an end. The EuroLeague tournaments and all of that, and the championship round is it's coming to an end. So make sure to check out Fenerbahce and Barcelona. And I've been doing a lot of work here in Switzerland, working with FIBA closely, and we've actually been getting a lot of props for that. Actually, thank you guys, the fans, then all those guys who are like listening to us, because the basketball community is appreciating what we're doing, and this is what it's all about. It's about bringing whoever loves basketball, bring it all together, and this is what we're trying to do. So, thank you again.
Perfect. And Mark, what's happening your way?
Three things quickly. I will have my interview with Jerome Williams, JYD, who played for the Raptors during that era, and also Justin Action Jackson from Finley Prep. I'll have that up this week. Also, some CanCon, Tyler Ennis and Sim Bular, both are going into the NBA draft this year. So that it's going to be a historic draft for Canadians. There'll be a lot of others, Henry Wiggins, of course, so look out for that. And Nick Skouska is playing today for University of Michigan, trying to get into the Final Four. And just to give a quick bracket update, we're having a bracket contest sponsored by the good people at Pure Hoop, who make amazing T-shirts. You can actually, I think Phil's got his Naismith shirt there in the background. If you can pull it out there, they do great design work and really great stuff at Pure Hoop. So to look at our brackets right now, Dan Mitchell's in first. Mary Cloud and Cedric are in second and third. And Phil, you are in sixth, and I am in 11th. And Mota did not participate because they're not allowed to play bracket contests in Switzerland, international rules. So,
although it's the safest place to hold your money. So.
Yes, exactly. Plenty in store from us this week. Mike Grumberg's back from his trip overseas, so his Technical Tuesday. He does a great piece every Tuesday on things that deserve a technical from around the basketball world for all types of stuff. And Phil does his Off the Wire as well every Wednesday. So lots of stuff from us to look at it from us at hoopslounge.com.
And you know what's funny is that Cedric and his girlfriend are actually competing for
I know, it's great.
Against each other. So that's actually a lot of fun. It wasn't not like talking to each other at home.
Exactly. If you don't know what Mota's talking about, I've had some people take some photos with. They wrote down #HoopsLounge. So if you guys are in some weird spots or all over the world in a basketball court and you want to throw up a picture, we'll definitely put your picture up there on our Facebook wall and give you some love because. Love spreading the community. So yeah, like Mark said, a lot coming up, Off the Wires, Technical Tuesdays, and more. So keep an eye out on hoopslounge.com. We got a YouTube channel, we have articles, we have everything. So whatever suits your fancy, we got it for you. And from myself, Mota, Mark, and the rest of the Hoops Lounge crew, we want to say thank you for joining us in the lounge.
See ya.